This week's Doctor Who episode went back to the mould of standalone adventure, with few references to the series' story arc or to Doctor Who lore in general. But there are still some interesting ties to the past in Praxeus. Here are 6 things I picked up on, which you may have missed. Number 1. The 3 locations technique. The synopsis for Praxeus promised an adventure spanning multiple continents, with the action split over 3 locations: Peru, Madagascar, and Hong Kong. If you think that sounds slightly familiar, it's because a similar technique was used just a few episodes ago in Spyfall Part 1, the pre-title scene of which is set across the Ivory Coast, the Pacific Ocean, and Moscow. As a nice bit of continuity, Praxeus even uses the same font as Spyfall for its location establishing title captions. But the very first story to cut between 3 locations in an attempt to create a sense of global scale was Resolution, the opening scene of which takes us from Anuta Island to Siberia to Yorkshire. It seems like this globe-trotting style is becoming a bit of a trope of the Chibnall era. Number 2. A location lowdown. As the show has become more popular abroad, it's become increasingly common for countries other than the UK to be depicted on screen. In fact, Praxeus is a rare example of an Earth-based story which doesn't feature the UK at all. In recent years, the show's budget has allowed for filming to take place abroad, with the Canary Islands being the go-to option from Series 8 to 10. For Series 11, a new location was added to this roster: South Africa. It was visited again for Series 12, featuring in Spyfall Part 1, and once more here. Most prominently, the Madagascan coast was represented by Kogal Bay Beach in Cape Town, part of the same coastline used for the planet Desolation in The Ghost Monument. Number 3. Connections to KaBlam. The writer of Praxeus, Pete McT, is no stranger to the show, having written KaBlam for Series 11. Naturally, there are a few parallels to be drawn between these 2 stories. For starters, the big bad of both is plastic related. The Praxeus virus in this story, and the infamous deadly bubble wrap in KaBlam. And then there's the seemingly innocent and unimportant, and fairly naive side character who, in the 3rd act, is revealed to be behind a villainous scheme and ends up meeting a grisly end. A description which applies to both Suki in this story and warehouse worker Charlie in KaBlam. Number 4. Hidden in plain sight. On the subject of Suki, this is the 3rd episode of Series 11 in which a character we think we know has been revealed to have a hidden identity. Firstly O in Spyfall, who of course turned out to be the Master, and then just 1 week ago in Fugitive of the Jadoon, when we learned that Gloucester tour guide Ruth Clayton was in fact an incarnation of the Doctor. Dare I say this trick has been pulled enough times for the time being? And probably by complete coincidence, 2005's The Long Game also featured a character called Suki, who was also not quite who she seemed to be. Number 5. Family Matters. Family was a big theme in Series 11, and this seems to be continuing well into Series 12, and the Chibnall era in general. For starters, Ryan's nan and Graham's wife Grace is indirectly referred to in 2 scenes. Firstly, when Ryan is comforting Gabriella about the death of Jamila, having experienced a similar loss himself, and then when Jake asks Graham, "Do you have any idea how hard it is to be married to someone that impressive?" We've had dysfunctional family relationships aplenty in recent episodes, from partners Jake and Adam here, to mother and daughter Kane and Bella in Orphan 55, siblings Prem and Manish in Demons of the Punjab, to Eve and Durkaz Cicero in the Saranga Conundrum, and of course Ryan and his surrogate granddad Graham across the whole of Series 11. Part of this approach involves treating the Doctor and her companions as a family unit, which is often, but not always, supplemented by a wide variety of supporting characters, so that an overall team, or family, of about 7 to 10 is formed. This team, headed by the Doctor, then has to work together, pooling all their individual skills and resources to save the day. This can be seen clearly in Praxeus, in which the Doctor and co are joined by 4 additional characters: Jake, Adam, Gabriella and Suki. Other Chibnall stories to feature large team lineups include Orphan 55, Resolution, The Battle of Ranskorav Kolos, and the Saranga Conundrum. Number 6. Quickfire Easter eggs. Lastly, in a first for this series, here's a roundup of brief references to past episodes that didn't quite warrant a full section to themselves. Pathogens/bacteria previously featured heavily as a plot point in The Pyramid at the End of the World, another story to be set abroad, and to feature an opening monologue about planet Earth from the Doctor, relayed as a voiceover. The climate/pollution previously played a big part in Orphan 55 and Arachnids in the UK, as well as numerous other stories from previous eras, the Green Death being the most prominent example, perhaps. The Comdots, neck devices previously used in the Saranga Conundrum, made a return appearance in this story, allowing the Doctor and her companions to communicate with each other from afar. As in Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror, Praxeus begins by introducing us to the side characters, with the Doctor and her companions not appearing until a bit later on. I also found this reminiscent of the Doctor Light opening to the Crimson Horror. Finally, the Autons get a brief name drop, due to the similarities between how the Nestine consciousness and the Praxeus virus operate. But I doubt you'll have missed that. As ever, I really hope you've enjoyed this video, and that it's perhaps drawn your attention to something that you hadn't noticed before. Of course, if there's anything I've missed or forgot to say, please let me know in the comment section below. And please subscribe if you're new, because next week I'll be back with another 6 Things You Missed video about episode 7 of series 12, Can You Hear Me? But otherwise, thank you so much for watching once again, and goodbye for now.